Well, experience matters more in today's real estate market than I think ever before, and so pleased to have one of the Maybom pros with us, Sandra Cullinan. How are you, Sandra?
I'm doing good, Neil. Thank you for having me.
It's great for you to be here, and I did a check, and right now there's about 2,200 real estate agents in the area.
There's a lot. There's a lot.
When did you get started, and do you remember what kind of competition you had?
When I first started, I had steep competition. That's back in the Claire Stone days.
Okay, sure.
And she was one of a kind.
Yeah.
Did a fabulous job.
And now her daughter's involved.
And her daughter is doing real estate now.
Yeah.
But it's been almost 25 years now.
Wow.
That I've been selling and have enjoyed every minute.
Have you ever seen an economic climate in real estate as you do right now?
I've been through some times, but this has to be one of the biggest sellers market that I've seen since I got into real estate.
Yeah, and before we went on, you mentioned that you did a listing call,
yes,
right,
yes.
for a seller, and
got it listed.
Okay.
Yes.
You're going to sell it in 24 hours, 48 hours?
Hopefully.
Yeah, but it's that quick.
It's that quick. It's
Wow.
that quick right now.
That's amazing. Well, as we said, it's March 9th as we record, so we're approaching spring and summer,
Absolutely.
and I'm guessing it's still the prime time for people to move in because the schools and such coming up.
School, getting
summertime.
out,
Yeah.
summertime, a lot of relocation during that period of time. So it is a great time to put your house on the market. If you're thinking about selling, call me up, have me out, and let's see what you need to do to get the house ready.
And so March 9th, so how soon does someone need to prepare to try to sell?
Depending on what they need to do to a house, it's best to call your realtor, get me out there, let me see the house, let me walk through it, tell you the things that need to be done, and then go from there. There's do's and don'ts always in real estate that where you need to spend the money, where you can pull back and not spend it, where you're going to recoup the most money if you do certain things. So you definitely want to make sure that you're not spending money where it doesn't need to be spent and spending it in the right places.
Now, what kind of an impact does a little golf tournament have in April on the process?
It has a little bit because it is harder to get contractors.
Okay.
So you want to go ahead and get prepared, get them lined up so that they're working on your house. You're in line to get done because a lot of people do things to their houses that time of the year when getting prepared for masters because they want to rent their houses and they have to be to a certain specification to be able to do so. So you want to call as soon as possible because it'll be here before you know it.
And the best way to get started, get in touch with Sandra Cullinan. I love the website, soldbysandra.com, and the phone number. And really a lot of excellent information is on there, including reviews. And I hope it was okay, but we plucked one off of there from Latanya Durden Helms. Does the name ring a bell?
Yes, it does. Oak Ridge Plantation.
Okay.
Sold her house in South Augusta very, very quickly.
That's outstanding. All right. Well, here's what she says about you.
Okay.
All right. Close your ears. If no, it's actually very nice. Mrs. Cullinan made the selling of our home very comfortable and welcoming. She kept us very informed. We never had to worry about the next step because she spoke with us on a daily basis. Really?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
And why is that important?
Well, if you've ever sold a house, then sometimes you know the process. But if you've never sold a house, you need to be informed as to what to expect. So I always try to make sure whatever the client needs is that I'm there for them to give them that. So if they don't need me every day or as much, that's fine.
Sure.
But if they do, I'm there to answer any questions along the way.
What type of questions, like how much should I clean to get ready for an open house, or what would be typical questions?
Some questions are about people in scheduling open houses, scheduling appointments. What do I need to do? How long should I be out of the house? Just everyday questions that you don't really think of
Sure.
to start with.
Well, LaTanya wasn't finished. There's more. Anytime we called, Sandra always answered. She never made us feel like we were bothering her. It was a true pleasure, and we look forward to referring others. Wow.
Yeah, that's great to hear. That is always good to hear.
Yeah. Are there folks like LaTanya, maybe when you first started back in the 1990s, that you've continued to help?
Oh, yes. This is not the first house that I sold this house to LaTanya and her family 15 years prior.
Wow.
And they called me to sell it, and they called me to buy their next house as well. So it's a great industry to be in, and it makes you feel good that people appreciate the time and effort that you gave to them. And I always treat people the way I would want to be treated in a transaction. And I remember the first house I sold, I was just like, didn't know anything. I was young. I was not in real estate. And I was looking for a home for my family. And I was not treated the way I felt like years later that I should have been treated. And I said, I'm going to do this differently. And went to real estate school.
Congratulations. And now you're one of the top of the class of 2,200, but experience does matter, as we mentioned, particularly in 2022 with such a seller's market. And once again, if you'd like to get your home listed, it's soldbysandra.com. And if you'd like representation, if you're buying, you can help as well.
Absolutely.
I wanted to ask you, so this is the first time you've done a podcast, right?
Absolutely.
A video podcast?
This is it.
What do you think so far?
So far, this is great. It's like having a conversation with a friend.
Oh, well, that's wonderful. And David and Chris, the fellows here who put the podcast studio together, tries to always make it feel like you're at home. Their website is getupproductions.com. Get Up Productions, and you can just go to their website or check out the information on the screen, and you can get started as well. Well, we're continuing our conversation with Sandra Cullinan, who has been with Maybom for more than 20 years, and her website is Sold by Sandra. What are you hearing about interest rates?
Interest rates are funny. They're going up. So that will limit what buyers can buy. Also, it'll limit what sellers can sell their house for, or the amount of traffic that they're getting because the interest rates have changed. So it's best to get in now to buy or sell if you want the most money that you can get for your house with a lot of buyers, a lot of good qualified buyers.
Yeah, so I've heard anywhere from going up maybe 0.25% in the spring to another 0.25% in the summer.
Absolutely.
What does that actually mean, like in real money, either in your payment or how much home that you qualify for? Is there any kind of studies done on that?
Well, just for instance, if you are qualified to buy a $300,000 house currently,
okay, and
the interest rate goes up 1%, you're only going to be qualified for $270,000. And now that you've been out looking at $300,000 houses, $270,000 is not going to look as good. They may not be able to find what they're looking for at that point.
Mama not going to have it.
No.
Oh, no.
She wants the granite countertops and the hardwood floor. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So it makes a difference.
That reminds me of, I don't know if you ever heard of Zig Ziglar. This is the, I guess, the sales coach.
Yes.
Do you remember?
Yes.
From Texas? But there was a real estate reference. I'm trying to remember it, but his wife really wanted a really nice home, and it would have been another $10,000. And she got out her calculator and she said, "Honey, aren't I worth another $7 a month?"
Yeah.
And what was he going to?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Right now it's about, if the rate goes up, it can change, $1,000 in payment can change your payment by about $6 a month right now, but as the rates go up, that's more.
It is
and more.
Yeah,
So
the reason to get started on
absolutely
on it now. And I know it's important to partner with good mortgage folks, and we actually have a testimonial from a longtime mortgage consultant who actually became a customer of yours a long time ago. This comes from Jason Redman, and he says, experience matters choosing a realtor. Sandra was my very first realtor about 24 years ago. So that was very early on.
Yes.
In your...
That was right after I got started.
Right after you got started. He says, her clients come first. No one works harder for you. Her loyalty is what makes her one of the best in Augusta.
That's awful sweet.
I thought that was very nice. So he's done a lot of business with you on his personal homes, and then you've worked with him on mortgages.
Correct.
I would assume.
Yes.
And talk about that relationship, because my guess is people considering buying a home may not necessarily have that relationship that you do.
Absolutely. And if buyers already have a real estate, a mortgage person in mind, that's great. That's fine. But I always tell all buyers, regardless, shop, shop, shop. Always check for your best terms, your best options with mortgage people. But I also, if you don't have somebody that can take you through that process, I have people that I work with on a daily basis that have the qualifications and skills that you need. And you need help when you're looking at mortgages, because that's a big investment that you're making, and you want to make sure you're getting the best deal.
What might be some of the differences between mortgage companies and the CSRA? Like, what is the criteria? I know there's a rate, but are there other things that get involved?
Origination fees. There's lots. For your closing costs, your title companies, there are a lot of fees, and you want to make sure that that mortgage person is doing the best job for you that they possibly can. And I know with Jason, got him started in the business almost 25 years ago when he got into mortgages. And he's always been a straight shooter, honest person, and works hard for his customers just like I do.
Wow. And, of course, there's several other mortgage companies.
A lot of good mortgage company and different loan programs. So it may not be that New American Funding, his company, has the best program for this buyer. It might be that they need to go to South State with 100% financing.
Wow.
So there are different loan programs to fit every buyer's needs.
Just curious of something. With the supply and demand, are more people coming to the table with cash because it makes a difference or not?
Well, it does make a difference in sellers' minds, because they're thinking no problems, no issue, no loans, just go to closing. But in terms of what they're going to net, it's the same. So, you try to, teach your sellers that too. Even though this is a cash buyer, this person here who is getting a loan, is their money's going to be just the same, maybe even more than that cash buyer.
Well,
so you want to look at your best options for your sellers too.
Exactly. Just as Jason mentioned in his sort of testimonial review, experience matters. And if you have any questions at all, you can go online to soldbysandra.com, and Sandra will be happy to just consult with you and help you. And if there's a good fit, she'd like to help you buy or sell.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And we wanted to just mention we're so thankful for our friends here at Get Up Productions, and we'll put up some information if you'd like to learn about doing some podcasting. You can check them out and check out some of the videos, and David and Chris would be more than happy to help you at Get Up Productions. And we are pleased to welcome back into the program Sandra Cullinan from Maybaum.
Yes.
And here's what I think is interesting. You have been a real estate agent for almost 25 years. Mm-hmm. How many companies have you worked for in Augusta?
Just one.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think that's a rarity, actually.
Lifelong resident here, lifelong company that I've been with. So
that's really fantastic. Yeah. Just give them a shout out. Why have you been with the same company all these years?
They have always supported me as a realtor, as a woman in real estate, and they've always backed me, whatever I needed, taken care of me as far as secretarial needs, because there is a lot in the background that's going on rather than just seeing me at your house. So
Right.
I have a lot of support, and Maybon provides that. It's wonderful.
That's really smart. If what you are great at, which I think you are, is just being a people person, being out in front and showing homes and consulting,
Absolutely.
and that you have some help behind, I would think that the customer gets the best of both worlds.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's really fantastic. And in a moment, Sandra has 7 mistakes that you can make in being involved in a real estate transaction, whether it be buying or also on the selling side. And Sandra is also a buyer's agent, and we found something online here that I would like to share with you. This is a nice review given by Debbie Lemons. For those who don't know, how many stars are the most that you can get on a review?
5.
Okay, so
5 stars.
5-star review.
That's all you can get.
I quote, I would give Sandra 10 stars if I could. First of all, that's got to make you feel good.
That does. That makes you feel real good.
Wow. Now, Debbie said after having not a great experience with 2 realtors that would not return phone calls promptly, I was referred to Sandra. Sandra is professional, courteous, patient, and knowledgeable, and looking for a home in this market is no easy feat. And what does she mean? Do you remember Debbie?
I remember Debbie. I remember most, if not all, my clients.
Yeah. So you were able to show her a home, but she felt like, hey, this is a tough.
It is a tough market right
Yeah.
now. You can put in several bids on homes and not get the house, and then have to get back out there. And a buyer's deflated after not getting a house that they were interested in. And obviously it happened to her a couple of times. And when I got her, I was like, okay, we're going to strategically do this, and we're going to get you the house that you've been wanting. We're going to get you the house of your dreams.
Wow. Did she have to make more than one offer?
We made one offer. We looked at a lot of houses. We made one offer and got it accepted.
Wow. That's fantastic.
It was fantastic.
I've heard stories where you got to bid on 5 or 10 houses. So
yeah, and she had previously done that, not with me.
Sure.
But she had previously done that. But the house that we found and bid on, she got it. And that was wonderful.
That's the Sandra magic. Can be found at soldbysandra.com. All right, we'll run through some of these 7 mistakes buying or selling a home. You say you have to be careful not to overprice the property you're trying to sell.
Yeah, because appraisal is always key. And the house has to appraise, or the buyer doesn't have to buy it. And unless they're going to fork the cash out and then put their down payment on top of that. So it's always key to make sure that the house is appropriately priced. That is number one, always.
And underbidding for your favorite home. That would make sense, particularly with it being a seller's market.
Correct. With the market being as crazy as what it is, and as many buyers that are out there trying to all get the same house as it comes on the market, you want to make sure you put your best foot forward. You want to, not miss out on your dream home for $1,000.
Right.
That's $6 a month, right now. So,
Yeah.
do you want to miss your house because you didn't fork in that extra $1,000? There are strategies that you can use, really, that help push your bid a little bit better and help you get the house.
That's the magic sauce.
That's the magic
sauce.
sauce.
If you hire her, she'll tell you. Does it make sense in some cases, or do you have to give a seller more than what they're asking for?
In some cases, you may have to. I have had instances where that has happened, but not always. I mean, there are other perks that you can put out there for your buyer that may pull the seller to your side without overbidding, because you want to make sure that your buyer's not paying more than what the house is actually worth, too. So
throw in a love seat and an ottoman, right?
maybe a home warranty.
Okay.
Lots of different things that you can do.
So creative
creative
Thinking, yes.
thinking in a contract is always a good thing.
Okay. You say never waive a home inspection.
No, absolutely not. I wouldn't buy a house without a home inspection, and I certainly wouldn't want my buyers to do so.
Does that occur in the market
It
these
has,
days?
yeah.
Really?
It really has. People have been submitting no due diligence days, but if you're going to submit a no due diligence day, then you need to absolutely put in there that you have the right to have the house inspected and request any necessary repairs. Because that's important, especially when you're buying a property. You don't want to buy somebody else's
Problems?
Yeah. Yeah.
I see.
And I even recommend that you get a home inspection before putting the house on the market in some cases to make sure that everything's up to par.
From the seller side.
From the seller side.
And just kind of
lay your cards on the
Yeah.
table. This, if you want to sell it as is, that's fine. Let's find out what the as is.
Okay. I follow what you're saying there. And we're continuing our chat with Sandra Cullinan from Maybaum Real Estate. And she has been a real estate agent with Maybaum, which is #1 company in the CSRA, for almost 25 years. And online, it's soldbysandra.com. And some people just don't understand the contract. And what are some typical things that are maybe a little confusing for folks?
Well, due diligence is probably the most confusing thing for buyers. They don't quite understand. And if they haven't bought a house with due diligence or been through a sale. But that's the days you have that the buyer has to back out of a contract after, and it's supposed to be used for inspection. A lot of times it's not. So in this market, that's why I always say, make sure you put in there, if you put 0 due diligence days, that you have some kind of backup so that you can have that house inspected. But not understanding the contract, to me, is a big, fault of the realtor.
Gotcha.
You should always inform every buyer of what they're signing. They need to know. They need to be aware of everything that they're agreeing to in that contract, because it is a legally binding agreement and will stand up in any court of law. So
Right.
very important.
Okay.
So
Another good reason to have an experienced real estate agent for sure. The fifth mistake in buying or selling a home, not amending the seller's disclosure. What does that mean?
well, nowadays you see a lot of homes that come back on the market. So they went under contract, now they're back on the market, and it could have fell apart for repair issues. So you want to make sure that if you're a seller and you have your house on the market and you get a contract and then they have it inspected and they come up with something that you weren't aware of and you fix it, you want to make sure that you amend that contract to be up to date,
Sure.
up to the day that it goes under contract. So if it comes back out, you amend it for whatever reason. If there was a reason, it may just be that the buyer changed their mind. And under due diligence, a buyer can do that. So
Boy, I bet this one gets your goat. Number 6, not being fully transparent with your real estate agent. Give, no names, of course, but just give an example of something that maybe has occurred over the years in which you were kind of blindsided when you were selling a home.
Oh, yes, absolutely. A buyer not disclosing that 2 days ago they went out and bought a brand new car and they could no longer qualify for the house that they were buying. So you need to be fully transparent regardless of any situation with your realtor. They're there to protect you and help you and guide you through the home buying or selling process. So
Yeah.
absolutely, you do. You
Yeah.
absolutely should be fully transparent.
Oh, wow. And does it ever happen on the seller side about, maybe there was a little bit of water leak down in the basement or something?
Absolutely.
Does that ever?
Seen that before too. I think I say I've seen it all, but then something will happen tomorrow.
But wait a minute. She just had her 39th birthday. How could you have seen it all? I don't know.
But yes, it happens on both sides. That
Okay.
you absolutely should tell your realtor whatever the case may be. In that disclosure, it asks some pretty pertinent questions that you need to be forthcoming with. And if you don't know, ask your realtor, because we do know. what you should and shouldn't disclose.
Sure. And you also say, lastly, number 7, a common mistake is not choosing the best real estate agent to represent you. I'm guessing, like in any business, some have some strengths and some do not.
Correct.
And what's a good criteria in choosing a real estate agent, do you think?
Well, I think the knowledge of the market, number one. If you're a buyer, then you want to make sure that your realtor knows those loan programs that are available for you, for what your circumstances are, because every buyer's different, every sale is different. That's what is such a passion for me in this business. Every day is different, and every situation is different, and it's a joy to deal with.
Yeah.
So,
what's it like when someone has purchased a home, a buyer through you, or you've sold for someone, and you get to the closing table or the keys get delivered? What's that like?
It's an awesome feeling that you have made somebody's dream come true. And right now it's a struggle to get there with buyers, because you are out there, it's feast or frenzy, with them. And when you get to hand them those keys, it is just a remarkable feeling that you've accomplished this, and hope that they're as happy with you for what you've provided them. So, and I can say I have some of the world's best buyers and sellers that I've worked with over the 25 years that I've been doing this. It's been awesome.
And there's been thousands, but she remembers you all.
Absolutely.
And if you join the team, she'll remember you too.
Absolutely.
Get started by going to soldbysandra.com. Lots of good tidbits like what we talked about on the website. Good information, good reviews for you to sort of see how other experiences have been. I think that's so
They all
important.
go on there. They all go on there.
It's a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Our pleasure. Soldbysandra.com.